Alrighty, guys. Um, well, I am coming in today. We're gonna be on for a little bit long today. Um, Now for a lot of you, there is a few things that I was gonna play Euro Truck tomorrow, as well as on Friday. But we have some issues with American Truck right now. I would be love to go back to play Euro Truck. I have it on 1.55, but there is 1.56, and I want to make sure that Pro Mods is fully updated to 1.56. Um, and stuff. So I haven't upgraded to 1.56 yet until we get everything situated and run down. Um, so I just want you guys to know that um for it. And we've got a lot of things coming in for us today. We've got a lot of things going in. Um, uh, and stuff. And we got a lot of gaming news today to talk about. Some gaming news that tomorrow we have an update to Parkitect, and I was thinking we might do some Parkitect tomorrow. We're still gonna wait and see what Eurotruck is coming in with um for a lot of things. Um Now I'm going to tell you something that uh really wanted to preface a lot of things is that we have some things going on within is we've got some political news to talk about and stuff, but mostly it's gonna be mostly talking about technology a little bit today. Um, didn't find much anything to talk about. Most today is just we're just going off the cuff. I don't have anything to talk about today because there's nothing really that potent and important to talk about except for that um is that we need to really be thinking about a lot of the things for our words, making sure that we are taking our words and actually just making sure that we are focused primarily on making sure that our words do not get us into trouble. But But there are some things that are going to get us into some trouble. But there are some times where people get into trouble for just rushing to conclusion. Um, um, and we have some things where we have been rushed into conclusion, and those conclusions, you look at Jimmy Kimmel, and Paul, and what's going on now. They're wanting to go after Jimmy Kimmel for his speech, for his right to speak his own mind. Hold on, guys. We need to do. You guys are gonna hear a nice little pop here. My phone's about to die. Give me a second. Okay. Sorry, I had to fix that. We had some issues with Jimmy Kimmel. We had some issues with where Jimmy Kimmel basically said something that Trump didn't like, and the issue is that Jimmy Kimmel is going to be could be taken off air because of the things he has said. And it bothers me when a place like Jimmy Kimmel, or not Jimmy Kimmel, but places like YouTube, or places that, or Trump for any of that matter, or any places where sometimes these platforms push to censor. And it's not just YouTube, it's like the whole thing of Facebook censoring, and we've got a lot of censoring going on with these things. And I've had many times where I've looked at issues on a lot of these different platforms that they do censor, and it's not just every platform has some sort of censoring going on. But when it comes to the government trying to censor and telling what people can and cannot say, is not something that the government should be really doing. The government of the United States should not be censoring Jimmy Kimmel because he said something about Charlie Kirk. Because he said something about these issues at hand. Charlie Kirk is no great person. Charlie Kirk isn't great. Charlie Kirk isn't Charlie Kirk isn't somebody out there that I don't like what he had to say. I don't like the things that he said, but we shouldn't be going after people because of whatever. And I don't know the whole entire context on this. And I'm gonna tell you, like, I am somebody that if you look at me and you look at the things that have been done, there is no there is no uh there is no appropriate things There is no um. There are things out there that we should not be pushing people and pushing things to forcefully change somebody to fit our narrative. We shouldn't be forcing it. It's like I don't force you to go and say something. I don't care. You can go say it all you want on your own platform. You can say it all you want, but if it starts becoming to where you're taking my own content and using it for other purposes, that's a different thing. But we have the right to freedom of speech. If you want to use a clip from me and say something out of it, you can go right ahead and use it. But just remember, if you see somebody like me going after you for using it because you used it out of context, going to use that shtick. I'm gonna use a shtick, and I'm gonna come after you for it. But I'm not gonna go out there and tell people you should you should go and hurt this person, you should go out there and destroy people's life. Don't do it. Don't go out there and tell that these things happen. It's like there have been killings this week, you know, that these politicians only when it comes to caring about it, they only care about it when it comes to people on the right. When it comes to the right, when it's one of their own, they don't care. They take into more consideration for it when it's their own. But when they go out after a right-leaning commentator, right-leaning key person, you know, when they go out after right-leaning or when the left goes after the right wing for doing something, they dogpile on the left. They dogpile on it because they don't want to be hurt. They don't want to hear anything from them. They only want to hear what they want to hear. And they don't want to hear when somebody goes out there and tells them, you know, that they're wrong. People who don't admit that they're wrong will consistently berate somebody for being wrong. People like Charlie Kirk and people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and these other people, they went out and complained about Marjorie Taylor Greene today complained about cloud seeding. You know, complained about that, complained about it, and just complained about that the left is after for, and it's like cloud seeding has been around since the 40s. Cloud seeding has been going on and been used. It's like they want to get rid of like electricity. They want to get rid of the wind and the solar because it's saying it's harming the environment. It's an eyesore. It's these things. It's like I am not ashamed at seeing a windmill out there. I'm more ashamed at seeing these tall buildings that are out there. I will tell you, I'm more ashamed of it. And that's the truth. I'm more ashamed at seeing I should say I'm not more ashamed of seeing taller buildings. I'm more ashamed of seeing buildings of Trump. I'm more ashamed of seeing what Trump has done to the world, what Trump has done to society. And I'm not ashamed of seeing tall buildings. I understand in some places they have to use tall buildings because they have so much population. And that doesn't bother me as much a as that. I'm more ashamed at seeing things. Wow, we're going back to Moldova up there. And that's trip time for that. 60 hours? No way. No way, Jose. And look at that. Like, they're all like trip times, like, that's the lowest trip time, is right there. That Tatari is. There, but let me. The cargo market. Yeah, that's. Okay. Um. Okay. We got Sasuse up there. So let's go check there. Um. Is there. No, that's going off into the distance of another location, so. So let's go up here. What I want to do is I want to come into the Middle East, but I want to have a Cyprus location. I'm only going to pick place, like I said, um, I'm only going to pick locations where they are absolutely like I start with the 80s in these countries, but I want to add a Cyprus one down here just so I can have some locations out in the Middle East. I can have a location out in the Middle East, and then we'll go back and we'll look at the. Look at it. But I'm going to tell you, like, I'm not somebody that goes after and looks out at the left leaning people. I don't go on after right leaning people. I may have in the past, may have said some things that I regret saying. That, but I regret for saying those things. I regret for saying these things back in the day. You know, if I said anything politically that goes after people, and I'm like, I'm not gonna go after people anymore. I'm not gonna go and put blame on something that we don't have the facts. First off, most of the time, um, Okay, so we've got this one. Here's going over to Georgia. We got another one going over to Georgia. But how is that one? We've got you going into that. I want to try and stick into the Middle East a little bit. I'm trying to see if we can get anywhere into Cyprus, though. Um, I don't think. We'll take this job since it is a short distance. Um, but it's like I'm gonna tell you, look, I will tell you, like, I love Adidas. Adidas has been one of those brands that I've loved for a while. That's why this truck is built around Adidas and actually built around one of my favorite shoe brands. Like, I love Adidas. I actually think Adidas is actually one of the better brands out there. I've had Nikes. I don't think I like Nikes as much as I like Adidas. You know, I am somebody that, but we can always say, look, Adidas may not be supporting the community. Okay, but that doesn't mean that I go out and boycott businesses just because these businesses, some people in these companies have a life. Now, of course, there are going to be some brands that I will automatically boycott. Um, and I will boycott some of these businesses, but I'm not going to go out there and boycott every stinking business. Like, I'm not going to boycott Nike because Nike has done some crazy things. There's clothing is one of those things where I will boycott some clothing brands, but I won't boycott Adidas because they just because a lot of the times Adidas has done wonders for my feet. Why are you like I would rather pick shoes that have better for my feet, better for it. I like the Superstars the best, and I've enjoyed the Superstars the best from Adidas. That's the best brand out there. I have not tried their new Superstars 2 because I don't have money, I don't have a job, but I'm always somebody that's willing to go out there and I'm willing to go out there. Okay, I see. I'm willing to go out there and willing to buy, Bobby Jack. It's like one of those other brands that I love. Loved as a kid, wanted to wear it as a kid, and I now wear it today. I have 3 shirts and a. I I have 3 shirts from them and a sweatshirt, and all of this is because I find joy just by wearing some things that it's like sometimes, yes, I will not wear certain brands because you know um I kind of like if they're not doing a lot of things that I want to see happen. You know, I'm not going to go out there and buy these brands completely just because they are um out there. It's like, look, because of certain things that they say, but if a company does not support us but does not support us because they don't have the funds or because of something, because they're going under. That's big dip or whatnot. I don't care. Like, Yep. I'm gonna take that penalty, though. Take that penalty. Because you know what? I'm gonna gain the XP for this. We're just gonna go and confirm. Just what little bit I get. I'm gonna... But I'm gonna be like somebody out there that some brands I will boycott. I will boycott Chick-fil-A. I'll boycott things that are not a necessity. I will boycott Ben & Jerry's. I'm now boycotting Ben & Jerry's because the guy who basically ran it is now gone. Because they basically pushed him out because... I'm trying to stay in the Middle East as much as I can. That's going to Athens, Greece, but that trip time is not worth it for the money. Precast stairs. No, of course, guys, like I don't like one of the things that I will tell you is that I don't like what the Middle East is being turned into right now. I don't like what's going on in Israel and what needs to be done. Like I am not going to, I will tell you, like I am somebody that violence should not be, like I'm anti-war, anti-gun, a little bit. I'm not full anti-gun. I am anti-war, anti-violence person. I don't agree with war. I don't agree with things that go on, but we have to deal with it because there are people out in this world that choose to make violence as their decision. They want to make violence as their focal point. Make violence as something that we should create violence. We should endure it. We should basically saying that we have to endure the violence. That we have to endure the guns, the gun deaths, because we have to, because it keeps our Second Amendment. Like, no, we should not have to go through these things when there are innocent lives at stake, and we have to yeah, no, there's a thing I'm doing here real quick. But it's one of those things that I wanted to come to Middle East to talk about this. To talk about it. Because I am somebody out here that does not support Gaza. And do not support Hamas, I should say, sorry. Support Hamas. And support... I do not support Hamas. I do not support what Israel is doing, but at the same time, it's very difficult because it's very difficult to ascertain the things that we do. We have the mega space, but I don't want to see the order. Let me clear the order off. Let me clear the order. I'm making sure is I don't want to do that. I want to look at I want to add the lumen mark there, and then I want to hide our two streamers behind. What's at level 20? What am I missing here? Down here. We only got one missing, so I'm gonna take you, and then I'm gonna come up and clear both of those out, and then put in these two right underneath. Okay, those two out. And then clearing that out. We're gonna do the Viking, then let's come in here. See. Okay. Arrow, seeing what we can. Just seeing what it is. And we have the portable navigator there. We'll leave our put our cell phone there. Yep, and we can throw you there. Let's see what we've got for. What's gonna be? Pride, what can you put on the middle? I'll put the bottle in there. But I'm wondering if there is somebody else. We'll confirm this order for now. Let's save our game because we're gonna have a lot of time. I'm gonna look things up. We're gonna put live 9/17 2025. Okay. So now let's hit Shift Tab. Let's go to the Steam Workshop. Okay. We're going to see if we have mega pack. Mega pack for other accessories. Yep, we've got what I wanted. So now we're gonna go, because I always had to load. No. We need to go to system. Yes, we need to add our mega pack that I have. I have this exact same pack. Through it. I have the exact same pack through American Truck Simulator. I have the exact same pack in there, and so I wanted to add some extra things into this, make more, bring in a lot of accessories. Like, I always like to have my truck being for what it is. I love Euro Truck Simulator. I love American Truck. I love this game. And I love the fact that this is one of those games where every game that I have played, every game that I have done is, I always like to find ways to modify the game if I can, and that's why I always prefer PC gaming. Now, not all modifying a game is not always going to be easy. That's why I said if I need to modify, I'm going to keep this laptop Windows 11, have a laptop on Windows 11, but only use it for like modifying. We're going to unsubscribe from that one. Confirm changes. And that's gonna tell me that I can't, that I'm gonna have some issues. That I missed a couple of the empty garage. I removed it because it's not even working. For it. Let me go to truck configurator real quick. Now, we are using the Mercedes-Benz. Um, or is this force bulk black? I actually think we're just gonna stick to the standard. Um, tracker. Nothing I can change there. Um, no, I'm not gonna do that. No, this must be like a guy who had a lot of turkey. Um, um, well then, if it's customizable, shouldn't we be able to customize? We'll see what that does. I'm trying to see. Trying to see what we've got here. Not much in pillow department. um okay. Cup large. Uh, hmm. What the TARDIS? I'm just seeing. I am. Moment. Journal. Linker. Where's Han? We'll throw Han in here. Because that's too big. Like, these things are like way too big. I think that'll be fine. Okay. Now, let's see. Okay. I'm going to confirm that order. And then we're going to go over to catalog. We're going to go to the Truck Explorer. And I need to find the Mercedes-Benz. The one that I've been utilizing. And then we come over here. Okay. The Ranger is the one that'll be missing. Missing on it. So I'd rather put the portable navigator there instead. And then we come down here. I want to throw the Viking Light Chrome 5. Because I want to make darn sure on that. No, it was used by Serpent. I want to keep these stock, I think. I don't think we need to really change on things. And then we throw plastic onto the back. And then we throw the Elegance on the back over there. Do the same, because I want to have as much light as I can so people can see for it. It's on the inside, not the... They're on the outside. That can be changed there. That just adds a light bar to the top. And I don't really want a light bar up on the top, but I think we will. Add a lumen mark 1, and then we will take out the rumble feature on both of those, and then we come over here and we'll use the thunder on... No, okay, that looks god awful. That does look god awful there. Maybe we shift. Yeah, no, it still looks god awful having that. So we're just gonna clear that out. We're gonna put you back into place. And it'll just clear you two out. Now what does, if we throw the streamer on through both of these two streamers? Not a lot of people will see. I think we'll just go put Luma marks on both. Now let me see the order and confirm you. I think we will do this. We wasted a lot of cash just to fix this vehicle up. But the fixing up a lot of that vehicle is going to be what we can do today. How do you use it when you're just here? You just naturally just use it. It's just naturally there. Well, lady, so when you talk about using the correct pronouns and using the right pronouns, it's just, you know, when it's just me and you here, it, pronouns is basically just like normal. No, but just like you would use it like if you were calling on your mom, who you'd use she, you'd use her when she's around and things like that. I'm sorry if I didn't see your message right away, buddy. I had an issue with my phone. So now it's fixed now. Well, technically I didn't have an issue with my phone. I just forgot to. The issue with it is I forgot to to have the message out to actually have the app open. The only one I have open right now with chat is actually YouTube, and that's really bad of me. I'm sorry, guys. I am I am unprofessional like today. Very unprofessional. I'm very, very unprofessional. Thanks, State of the World, 84% of that message, though. You know, one of the things you can do is pronouns are so easy to use. It's easier to use when it's somebody's using he, her, when it's using she, her, when it's using he, him. It's a little bit harder when you're trying to do non-binary, like it's, they, them, they, them. It's really a little bit harder on people, and it's hard on me to know that, but it's gonna take a little bit of time to understand it. I'm not like one that's gonna not use your pronouns. If you want me to use your pronouns, I'm gonna use them. I'm gonna try my best. Non-binary is the the one that I really find it to be harder to use than any other noticeable thing. Yes, I use she, her because it's easy. It's, I'm not somebody like it's easy, but it's also because of who I am. I only put it there so that you guys can utilize it if you want to. I'm not gonna like go out and make a whole baloo when you misgender me. Yes, I will. I will do it when I'm here on stream. I will do it when I'm out in public. I'll try my best. I'm not perfect at it. I sometimes in public I'm like I don't use my pronouns properly. And I don't quite change people's minds on that particularly because it's just I don't want to push this out there on people. Um, Vehicle adjustments, adjust lights. Board lights. Now, um, I am somebody that loves the outdoors. Um, not the outdoors per se. I've been just thinking about might just turn off my air conditioner, and open up my windows, and but like my mom would probably It's like I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm not gonna change it because I let my mom deal with it. Um, so I don't. I am somebody out there that, you know, I love seeing the I like a little bit of winter more than summer, and I'm not. And the reason why I say that is because I have a couple of things that I will tell you that I absolutely love. I don't like the GPS thing there. I feel like it needs to be brighter. I forgot to use my blinker there in the roundabout, but that's okay. You know, but I am somebody that's out there that will go out and buy um a lot of uh a lot of things that I probably shouldn't be going out and buying, like $1,000 on shoes. Shouldn't, like, I'm somebody that won't go out and spend like thousands of dollars on a single pair. Like, that's ridiculous. Buying, like, people, like, there are three things you should never buy that I think that nobody should be out there to buying these things. Nobody should be out here buying shoes that are worth that much. Like, pushing it to $200, 300 is pushing that. Is pushing that boundary that it's like, I still wouldn't buy it. I still probably wouldn't buy it. But, you know, I sell these shoes that I would buy because they're handcrafted. They're not they're not like um they're not like mass produced or something. But handcrafted, I'd rather spend a little bit more time on handcrafted shoes than spend on you know, the one through Christian Satori. Like, I don't promote them much anymore because of the issues with the United States, and I live in the United States. Um, I wonder if I can get like a slightly little bit bigger, but having that there, like, that's actually nice that I can just have that sitting there. I That would be something like if I had like bigger window, bigger screens and stuff, I might just remove some of these accessories. Um, you know, I would have a lot of differences and a lot of things out there. It's like, look, I am somebody that, you know, you got to think outside the box. You got to think outside the process of things. You can't just say that you look at how can I support the LGBTQ community. The LGBTQ community is something out there that you can support. You can help people. You can learn and grow and spend a little less time on these remarkable things. You know, the LGBTQ community is not 90% of anything. 90% of any group of any ideology most of the time aren't going to go out and basically the majority of people aren't going to go out and hurt people. The majority of people like me aren't going to go out and hurt people. Now, of course, I've changed a lot over the course of my life. I have changed over the course of guns. I have shifted my tone on guns. Guns is one of those things where, why have I shifted my tone? Well, I have shifted my tone on silencers. Mostly silencers, mostly pertaining to those kinds of, to that thing and that thing only. You want to have a silencer, you gotta go through the process of making sure that the things that you put out, and making sure that, yes, I understand that you want to have your ears protected. I said this yesterday, that you want to have your ears protected, but you can't have your ears, like, you do that, you still have to wear ear protection, you still have to wear those things. Because I'm going to basically be somebody that if you aren't wearing your ear protection while at the range, or wearing things, because you still have to wear them. Because there are people out there that aren't going to have the suppressor. Why get a suppressor then? Why get a suppressor when you're just going to the range to shoot? And you go to the range and say, oh, it's 30%, 30 dB lower, 30 decibels lower. What is the decibel of a gun that you shoot out of the barrel? What is the decibel at one gun? What does it do when you have a thing? Yes, a silencer will still have noise, will still have sound, but if you're somebody that's not in close proximity to somebody, how are you going to know if a cop is 3 blocks down and somebody's shooting? How are you going to know when you have a lot of noise around? What then? The silencer thing is one of those things that I've always say that I don't care, you can have your Second Amendment, but that's one thing I will not allow for people to have. Now I know what it's telling me. Okay, so trip time is pretty much an hour to that location. Yeah, I think I might remove the GPS thing up there on this thing that, silencer, like, that's the one thing I do not agree with everybody having. It's like they're like, that should be left up to military, that should be left up to people who use it every day. Like, you aren't going to use a gun every day, you aren't going out there to use a gun 24/7 or train with it or use yourself because of that. And it's like, how are you supposed? That's the whole reason why California did it, is because an LAPD cop. That's why California kind of said, no, we're not going to do it, because a cop if a cop cannot hear. All it remains is 3 hours. We gotta get going. I am somebody that's out there that will go out and believe will go out there and believe like, I'm out there, somebody that believes in the Second Amendment, but how how are you supposed to know if a typical weapon fires the weapon at let's say almost worse, bigger than ears? It's like you have to wear ear protection. You have to do that at fireworks when they go off. Like, sometimes you have to do that, and you have to really think about that. You still need to wear ear protection. You need to still have that protection, because even if you still wear, even if you still, like, it still bothers me. Even, like, I guarantee you, being around guns, I actually kind of realize being around physical, real life guns kind of doesn't bother me as much as it bothers me when I see uh, things that, a silencer may work when you have to really think about it. A silencer is going to protect the user more than it's going to protect the people that need to hear it. If a weapon gets shot out of a home that has a silencer, okay, you have to think about the necessary precautions. You don't, like, I'm pretty sure my brother does not really pay attention to how a silencer works. Like, my brother, who thinks that guns, that he doesn't look outside of a 3-4 block radius. He doesn't look at that. He doesn't go in and see why did California ban the silencers. They didn't ban the silencers because of it. They banned it because of an LA cop. Because the cops could not get to see or hear. I looked this up. Why did California ban it? Because of LA. Because a cop could not hear the weapon being fired off that was within a 2-block radius, within like a block radius of it, and could not hear it. So yes, a silencer still has a thing going off, but it's only going to be at the closer you are to the weapon, the better it is for you to hear. The further away from the weapon you are, the worse it becomes to hear. And that's why I don't agree with silencers. That's why I would rather silencers be, if you want a silencer, you need to have a really strong case to get a silencer. You cannot be somebody that goes out and uses these silencers as a mechanism. That America should not be utilizing silencers unless you're military. Military grade. Silencers should only be used in military portions. Just because in a video game they do have a thing where, yes, silencers do not stop anything. Silencers do not silencers do not change a lot within their regard for it. It's like, I look at these things and look at them as like, there's these cases where you have to really think about you have to think about what goes on and why they ban them. Why do they ban these silencers? And is it somebody that is a cop? Or what went on to ban? Why did they ban these things in these states? Why did these states ban silencers? Why? Ask yourself, why did they ban them? What took them to say that? It does not say anywhere in the Constitution. In my opinion, it does not say anywhere in the Constitution what type of weapon. It does not say what kind of weapon you can and cannot have. These these people think that that we're getting rid of certain weapons because they're getting rid of our Second Amendment. It's like, it's like they're getting rid of certain types of weapons. And they're getting rid of certain types doesn't mean that they prevent the issue. Just that they like dropping a weapon doesn't prevent it either. Getting now on that same coin is like they don't want to get rid of it because it protects people's, like I said, it protects people's ears, and it's actually not. You go. You go. I'm gonna tell you, like, I am somebody that believes in safety for a lot of things, but you have to really think about the consequences on the other side of everything. You know? Um, okay. I need to load back. Okay. Okay, so we should be able. Yeah, that guy should have been in the other lane. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take that 160 to avoid sleeping. We'll get some gas while we're here. Um, let's go up here to our cargo. I'm in Seafowl. Ah, yes. Limassol CY. Let's go. Set you, and we're off. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now we got that one. We got that one going to Tel Aviv, but that one's the one that we're taking. Because I wanted to go over here. I was hopeful that I didn't spend on creating this thing. Yeah, thanks, Twinkin FXN, for joining the TikTok live. Thank you. But I'm gonna tell you, like, when I go out and look, this will be our last trip. Before I go get some supper, go get something to eat, and then I'll be back on for today. We'll see what we got. I wanted to come over here to Middle East a little bit so that I can get someplace and get some things and actually explore a little bit through the Great Steppe. We haven't visited a lot of other countries. We haven't visited Iceland yet. Again, we have visited. No, I'm going to tell you, yes, we have visited Iceland. Yes, we have visited the Middle East before. But in this, since then, as you guys know, if we actually really spend our time, this is where we spent a lot of our time traveling on our roadmap. We have not gone to Iceland. We have gone into Iceland before the crash, before I switched over from Linux, from Windows to Linux. We did visit Iceland, and we did visit the Middle East. I forgot to completely grab the profile. I thought it was the Steam profiles. I forgot to grab the profiles as well, to bring in. Now, of course, there's that in a lot of places out there that, I don't look at these things that, the technology is like they're now deploying, um, they're using technology to deploy, uh, to help in ice raids. And that's not even a great thing. That's even worse. And the whole thing with this tech thing, you know, I don't like what they're utilizing tech for. Tech is being utilized in some fashions as bad things. I'm not going to say that we have a problem with our internet. We have a problem. But with that problem lies in not our lies within our government. Lies within our government. Lies within our government to facilitate these bad tech giants. To not really help the tech industry. The tech in this industry is like the technology that we use with Facebook. Like Facebook is like starting to become worse. Facebook is becoming worse every day. And I want to get away from Facebook, but I can't because I have family on it. And if I didn't have family, I would be getting off Facebook. And I would probably only use Facebook for for marketplace. And even in that's probably all I ever would use it for in these days anyway. But no, I don't. I use it to share my political beliefs on Facebook. I use it because I get more people on Facebook to understand my views on things. I use I That's where I post a lot of that. I use Instagram more than I use Facebook. Um, I use a lot of various different things that I use in my daily life that some of these things I don't use. Like I left X because of the way that social media has been shifted over there. The way that our internet and our technology is just shifting away from it. You know, we have an issue with these platforms pushing an agenda that force an agenda down people's way of thinking, and we have it on that. But when I go and look at Fox News, they have an agenda too. CBS, ABC, NBC, all of these. And but I got a little sidetracked there. Thank you, Fries, for joining the TikTok live. Thank you, Fries. Um, you know, I am somebody out there that you look at the content, you look at the technology, and you look at things out there. It's like, look, it's like there's content out there for everybody to go out and watch. You have sites, you have these adult sites that you can go and watch if you'd like. I partake. I am not somebody that's gonna hide from that. Okay? I have shown it before on this by mistake. and I'm like, you know what? I'm just not gonna want people to see it all the time because I don't want people to like think that I'm always out there watching this content, but I do. But I do watch it, but it's not like um I think I might do um do some things that are, I look at the content out there that is being plagued by society. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, they tell me I'm supposed to go into that lane and I don't. But I will tell you, it's like I um look at the content that's being put out there, being said that there's a lot of people that use this to put pull false narratives. You know, I will tell you during and after the COVID, when COVID ended, they weren't hiding. MAGA wasn't in hiding. MAGA was never in hiding. I had somebody that was basically when COVID was at the tail end of this and stopped, and when they shifted, like I'll tell you, like MAGA never left. MAGA never leaves. Nazis never leave. They don't. It's the same thing. It's like you get rid of trans people, they're not gonna be gone. You know. These people aren't gonna be gone because just because you want to get rid of them. You know. You know, there are people out there that are basically being utilized and hurting. There are people out there like that harm people, that just want to go out and harm people, and you saw that last week they all went out and thought that, oh, I thought they would do something about it. Well, they're going to do something, but they're not going to do the right thing. They're not gonna they rushed and jumped right into conclusion on who it was, and then they blamed, and then they went and corrected themselves, but then they still blamed. They found some way. They're finding some way to blame trans people for that issue. Um, Thank you, Skibbity What the Babe, Skibbity Muscle Baby, for joining the TikTok live. Thank you. Oh, I know that they found rushed to conclusion on who it was. They don't have the facts. They rushed to jump on pushing that it's a trans narrative. Let me be clear. In no way, shape, or form do I condone violence. As a trans person myself, I don't condone people going out to harm people. Physically. I don't care I don't care which identity you have. Okay? I care about the person involved and the people that we should be condoning any kind. Political, non-political, we should be toning down our rhetoric and not be utilizing that. But when I go out and I hear Trump use it, I hear Trump use it all the time. I hear Fox News sometimes will use it, and then they go and, oh, said we're sorry, but they're not. They're not sorry when they make these things happen by saying these things. It's like you got to be careful what you say. You got to be careful what you do. You got to be careful on how you make these things on the internet. You can't just rely on these platforms. Every platform. I'm not just naming all platforms. You cannot go without hearing some political content somewhere on these platforms. You know, I was somebody that stopped listening to I was somebody that didn't listen to politics when I started out my journey on YouTube. In 2013, I never got into politics. I never was somebody that picked up the political issue. I wasn't that person. I wasn't that person that went and picked up the political issue at the start. I wasn't somebody that didn't want to really get into it. I wanted to play video games. I wanted to be somebody that just played video games. I still do. I still play a lot of video games today. I still do it for you guys. And I still do it through TikTok and Trovo and YouTube. You know, we play Euro Truck, but and stuff. We got a new thing tomorrow, guys, that we are going to take a look into into tomorrow. We've got Parkitect tomorrow. We got a free update. We're gonna take a look at what's free, the not what's not free, because unfortunately I am waiting for the European Euro Truck Simulator to come out with more DLC. So I've been saving that money for DLC for this game because I am more into this game, and I have Parkitect. I've bought all three. If I had like $5 lying around extra, I would most likely be out there utilizing that extra 5 or using the things. But I am somebody that does not spend out and going out to buy things. It's like I wanted to buy the battle pass for Marvel Rivals, chose not to because I have the money. I almost did it yesterday, and I'm like, no. I need to save this money. I've been planning to save this money for Euro Truck game, because I love Euro Truck. Euro Truck is actually one of those games that if you have not played this game, you absolutely need to come in and play it. I'm right now currently utilizing a Rock Candy Switch 2 controller, and I'm using that. You know, I look at China, and I look at all these other places too that, you know, I mean, I look at the things that were going to be going on over this week. Normally I would have Parkitect on. Normally I had Parkitect on Monday, but I chose to come in because I wanted to play Euro Truck. I have been itching to play Euro Truck. Right now I not going to be touching American Truck for a little while. I'm not going to touch American Truck for a while until Pro Mods 1.56 comes out. For the 1.5 when Pro Mods comes out for 1.56. Because I am stuck in Canada right now. If I wasn't stuck in Canada and I haven't visited Canada yet, I would have said, okay, well, we will uninstall Pro Mods and we'll just go and utilize the base game. But because I am in Canada right now, I'm going to wait. We're going to play this until Pro Mods comes out with their release for 1.56. And when for it. So I am somebody out there that will wait, and I can wait. It's like I don't want to. It's like I can wait to build another computer. I want to build a computer so badly right now, but I know that I need to wait. I need to get a job so that I can, and I haven't been pushing enough to get a job, and it's very it it is very much um, a thing to do. It's very hard for me to um, it is very hard for me to put things into perspective of what the minds of these people think. I'm not somebody that goes out and believes every ounce of technology or believes in everything. I went and sometimes, like, if I don't know something, I went and asked AI last night to help my mom with something because I'm not Zoom tech savvy. I went and looked up as, like, you know what, I went and asked ChatGPT because sometimes I use AI to ask a question. When it's technological related and I don't have something I don't understand, I will use ChatGPT for that. You know, but I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna look it up myself before I go and look up Gemini. I'm not gonna go out and look at Gemini. I'm not gonna go out and look at these places using AI. Um, because I'm not somebody out there that's going to push this AI crap. I don't want AI in everything. Like, I don't want to have AI built into my phone. I don't want to have AI built in. I want to have AI as something I can just go search up something if I need to. And I'm somebody that will take a look at technology as it's fantastic. We gotta get used to AI here, though. I'm kind of somebody that doesn't really like it, but I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna take into okay. I did not mean to do this, but we're gonna have to go back. But thank you for joining the TikTok live, guys. Remember, if you guys are watching here on TikTok or YouTube or Trovo, remember, you guys can hit that follow and subscribe. Depending on the platform you are on, it is free to do so. If you're not subscribed on Trovo, and you don't have the funds to pay for it, it's okay. But if you want to, you get past live streams. Uh, Night streams are behind a paywall. Day streams are behind a paywall as well. Um, so just be aware of that. And if you guys are watching here on YouTube, I will be shifting over um, to playing Euro Truck after I go get something to eat. Here in a minute. We're gonna finish up. Like I said, we're gonna finish up this job, and then Because we'll get some money going through this way, because um, we have people there. Now remember, we are in Cyprus, so we gotta remember to be driving on the left-hand side instead of the right-hand side. But before we do go and continue, I need to check, um, to repay off that little bit there. Um, yeah, we gotta stick to the right here. I hate right-hand drive. I hate this side of driving. I prefer the right lane driving. But you know what? We will deal with it. Um, this will actually, I will put this country, like I said, UK will be the last time. Now, it doesn't mean I won't go and travel to these places. I won't go and deliver deliveries, but I just won't put my business in there. And but I am somebody that will utilize these technologies to understand, you know, building a computer, building technology is not something that is relatively easy. It's not relatively easy to go out and build a computer and have the best parts, because there's so many. A game company cannot go out and produce every cannot go out and produce every content and produce every ounce of those things going on. Um, and goes out and produce everything. You can't go out and believe everything that you hear and believe everything that you see. Okay? You can have more. It's easier to believe what you can see than what you can hear. What you hear may not always be the truth. You may not get everything that you hear from your church. And you got to have some of those critical thinking skills and put those things in. Thanks 999 forever for joining the TikTok live. Thank you. Yeah. I am somebody out there that will go out and listen to people and listen to things with these politicians. I will listen, but I will not believe it. Everything you comes out of your mouth. I will hear you, but I'm not gonna listen to you if you're gonna start spewing lies and deceitful things. There are things where the left do get wrong, but I'm not a complete political left-leaning person. You know, one of the things I said earlier today is labels. My prophet Russell M. Nelson talked about this a little while ago in a conference, and talked about how label, like, I don't remember, it was within the last couple of years, at least. Um, it went and talked about these labels, and that how, labels, like, in paraphrasing, he talked about that there are only three defining labels that we really should be focused on. That we're a child of God, that we are somebody of Jesus Christ, um, and that we are a person of those things. There's another one that I forgot exactly. We should be more peacemakers. We should be more helping each other. Instead of putting each other down. It doesn't matter what label you put, okay? It doesn't matter what label you have put on somebody. Somebody's going to have an issue. There's going to be violence in that group. There's going to be violence in that particular group of people. It doesn't matter what you identify as. It doesn't matter how you identify. Okay? You can lie, you can cheat, you can steal, you can do whatever you want under that label. One of the things he talked about is the political right and the political left. The right, we all are. I identify as a Democrat, but I don't believe everything the Democrats say. You may believe, you may be a Republican and have a different view than what every Republican has. You know what? We'll just skip that. And thanks, Gavin. And that's fine. We can have all various views, but remember, a left-leaning person can commit political violence just as much as the right. Okay? You can be a Christian and say that you're a Christian, but you can still commit political violence. You can still commit violence no matter what your label is. A trans person can do the same thing just as much as a gay, just as much as a straight, just as much as any label you put. A violent person is going to be there. I always say that it doesn't matter. You can be a gun-loving person and still have violence and tendencies because you love guns. You can be a violent offender because you love video games. It doesn't matter what you do, what you have done in your life. You can become radicalized in some of these groups. You can outright just blatantly believe these things that you see on the internet, and just flat out believe everything and just take it in as truth when you don't do any research and stuff. And that's one of those things that I always think that we should be researching our things. We should be focused on research rather than focused on not doing our research. If we don't research anything, we're not going to get anywhere. If we don't just sit back and say, I'm going to listen to Fox News when I don't hear what the other side's saying, I'm not going to sit there and listen to these things without having other pieces of knowledge, and these things. And labels, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter. Thanks, Trip, for joining the TikTok live. It does not matter what your label is. Okay? There should only be a few labels that we should all have, that everybody needs to be kind of coming closer to Christ instead of going away from Christ, instead of going away from Him, instead of going away from God Himself, going away from those things. We should, in theory, we should be helping those in need, and rather than putting them down, rather than harming those people, taking away. You want to get rid of the homeless population. But you don't want to give them the help. You want to get rid of their home. You want to take away those things when the vast majority of the time they're not harming you, and they're not harming you in any way, shape, or form. You gotta think about the things that you say and the things that you do, because you're not gonna be. You don't understand. You don't understand these homeless communities because you're not homeless. You don't understand a trans person because you're not transgender. You're not gay. You don't understand gay people because you're not gay. You don't understand these identifiers when you aren't these identifiers. Okay? And that's okay. We can learn to grow and understand each other. Thanks, Short Clips, for joining the TikTok Live. We can understand and have more closure and more understanding of these identities, and make sure that we have better understanding instead of just rushing and saying that trans people are bad people. I see it all the time on the right, saying that trans people are bad, trans people this, trans people that, when they don't even go out and study or take into consideration and shadow an actual trans person that is still transitioned today. They go out and want to find the narrative to go and look at a person who is detransitioned and pushes the detransitioning, and does not actually go and look at these other trans people because somebody detransitions because they thought it was wrong at one point. But remember, you can still make mistakes and still make those mistakes when you know. Let me make a thing. I am somebody that thought that, I went and went to school, took a class that I thought was actually something that I could easily do, that I could understand. I ended up scrapping that class in college because I didn't quite understand it, or I wasn't quite there. But I made that mistake in thinking that this class would be easy. I made mistakes in high school and in middle school where I did cheat at one point. And I have cheated before, but it's like we make those mistakes, we learn from them. We learn to overcome those mistakes. Before I get off here, right, one last thing I'm going to say. Is I made a lot of mistakes of stealing back when I was a teenager. I've learned my lesson. I've learned it. I have taken that. No, we shouldn't be stealing. We shouldn't be stealing things. We shouldn't be doing things like that. That's wrong. It's morally wrong. And it's like, I tell people that don't do things like that because you're not going to go anywhere. It's not going to change if you're not going to change if you don't want to change, if you don't want to learn. And these Republicans want to dumb down and push their agenda on people when they don't want to have anybody learning. Like they literally said this a week ago, that don't send your kids to schools because they're brainwashed. Hello? I went to school, continued and went to school, was not brainwashed in any way, shape, or form. I just had better knowledge and better understanding. Because one of the things that I'll tell you, as a trans person myself, I had the terminology and the understanding, guess what? When I was in college. I understood who I was in college college. Why was I somebody that liked women's clothes back when I was a teenager? Why did I like women's things and women's shoes and women's things when I was a lot younger? Didn't understand why. Didn't understand why I wanted to dress up like a woman. I didn't have that understanding when I was younger. When I went to college, I had that better understanding. I had that understanding of who I am. We go and we learn. You know, I was somebody that went to college to make video games. And wanted to make video games. I ended up going down and founding myself into actually liking audio production. Didn't have that knowledge because I never grew up with that knowledge. We go and we learn. We go to school to learn. We go to school to make better decisions. And not by, thanks Moonems for joining. That's why when we go to school, for joining the TikTok live, thank you. That's why we go to school. That's why we learn. We make those decisions. And we make those things for we don't just go to school and go and end up being brainwashed. We end up going to church. Guess what? Did you know that a lot of churches brainwash people to believing a certain way? And they do. And they have that to believe a certain way and believe things. There are some things where there are false narratives within these churches that don't get everything right, but there are some times where a church gets it right once in a while, where a church will get something right and there and there's only one church that I feel that's the only one that's going to tell you the truth, that's going to teach you the right way of learning, and that is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. In this church, we actually go and we study. We have this thing where it's centered, where we made our home where our church should be Christ-centered home church first. We should be teaching at home, and understanding and going through and learning the scriptures daily, weekly, which is what we do in our Sunday. We have our Sunday school that we used to do it every week. We used to go 3 hours every week. And every week we would go, it used to be where we go to we would go to Sacrament, then we'd go to Sunday school, and then we would go to Separate, and we'd go to Priesthood or Relief Society, depending on we would have youth be separated too. You know, the youth would go to their Sunday school, youth class, and then they would go to their respective, they would end up going to different points. And they would do the same thing with, and then we also used to do that, and it would be the way that we did things. Some places they would start, they would have Sunday school and Relief Society first, and then they would have Sacrament after, for some places. But now we only have 2 hours of church, and it used to be if we would go from, like, for example, I currently go at 10:30. I go at 11. Sorry, I go at 11. 11 o'clock church every Sunday. That 11 o'clock would go from 11. Now we go from 11 to 1, I think. Yeah. We go from 11 to 1. It used to be 11 to 2. But now we go to Sunday school every other week, and we take that Sunday school, and what we are in our gospel teaching is what we do is we learn from that. We learn at home. We're supposed to learn at home and then come to church on Sunday and and then we learn about it on Sunday, every first and third, and then every second and fourth would be Sunday school. Would be every first and third would be Sunday school. Every second and fourth Sunday would be Bristol Religious Society kind of thing, and that's where we do, and that's where we learn. But we do it is where we learn at home, and take that to learning through the gospel, through our lessons that we learn every day through that. So anyways, guys, thanks Matthew Day 23 for joining. Remember, guys, we are live through those things down below, Monday through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on all of those links at night. I mean during the afternoon. YouTube is not at night. We are always live. Normally, we are live from 9 p.m. We are typically normally live from 9 p.m. till 2 a.m. on TikTok and Trovo, but for the rest of this week, and the weekend, I will be live after I get done eating at 7 o'clock. I'll be back on. We'll be going from 7 till 2, with a few breaks in between. Hopefully with a little bit of break in between, because I should be taking some breaks. And then we will be also going in next week, but then also this week we'll be try to be on from 4 till 6:30, depending on how I go and how I feel. But tomorrow I will be doing some other things. Thanks Trading Gag for Sab Trusted for joining the TikTok live. But tomorrow I will be doing a couple other things tomorrow that I cannot talk about here. But tomorrow will be a little bit awkward and different. But then on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will be typically of this schedule. And then on Monday we'll go back to normal schedule. So what we're going to do is when I get off here, I'm going to get something to eat, and then I'm going to, we're going to play some, when I get back on, we'll play some, maybe we'll go in and play a little bit of EuroTruck, a little bit of EuroTruck here, until we go on, until 9 o'clock, and then we'll jump in and play some Fortnite. Tomorrow I will get on at 9, and we'll do Fortnite still, but Friday, guys, we will get back into some Marvel Rivals on Friday night. Euro Truck Simulator 2 will be that way. Will be the rest of for the next at 7 o'clock. Then tomorrow will be Euro Truck as well. Euro Truck will be there until American Truck Simulator Pro Mods gets updated. Once that happens, Euro Truck Simulator 2 will be here until then, and then we will go from that point on. So if you guys want to see that content, make sure you guys are followed here on Trovo and TikTok. It is free to do so. If you're on YouTube, make sure you guys are subscribed, because subscribing is free to do so, but not on Trovo. Trovo is not free to subscribe. You do need to pay a little bit to get my past live streams from my nights and my days, and you can also get some cute cat emotes over on Trovo as well, if you guys would like. But other than that, everything else is free. So anyway, we will catch you guys back here in about 15